Hey guys, thanks for joining, and Merry Christmas. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. I recently built a district shaped like a corgi, and everyone seemed to love that, so we're going to have a little bit of fun today in the spirit of Christmas, and I am going to make a Christmas tree. So we're going to start off just by laying out some framework. So this is gonna be the equivalent of looking into your living room, and what we'll do is we'll start building out. Right now I'm just doing a little bit of layout, so if I can get this to cooperate with me, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to turn off bending and get some structure here. So I'm going to come down at about a 45 by about 30 units on each side. Alright, now we can get rid of this center line. This is definitely not going to be a realistic Christmas tree. A little hard to do something perfect in city skylines with just roads. I'm sure that somebody who is talented than I am could make something work, but I'm gonna keep it simple. And so what I'm doing here is just kind of getting some guidelines in place. I'm going to play around some with how much this bends and see what looks right. So I think that'll work. So that's going to pretty much be the top of our tree, and now we're going to work our way down. So we're going to come off here, and I'm going to be doing a lot of guide roads just to kind of get the angles right, so bear with me here. So we're going to come down at, let's see if that's using my grid here to kind of line everything up. Yeah, that looks about right. So we'll come down that far. Get rid of that. And of course I forgot to pay attention to how long that was. Okay, that was 30 units, so that's good. Now we're going to do the same thing here, 30 units out. And from there, we will not quite perfectly symmetric, so this is the, just like a real Christmas tree. It's not going to be quite perfect, but we will make it work. Now I'm gonna just come straight down here, and here I thought I could get rid of my guideline in the center. No such luck. But that is alright, we will just delete as we go. Make sure I actually have the right road selected. Alright. Now I'm using one of my existing cities just so that we have some people nearby to kind of fill in and provide some demand. So you'll notice that I have about 130,000 people here already. So just come right on down here, make our next tier, and that's looking pretty good. So again, hope you like my cartoon tree here. And of course I completely forgot about what I just said and kept that, or deleted my whole line out, but no worries. That is easy because we still have our, I guess we can call it a stump down there. So we'll use that as our guide. There we go. So we're just kind of, having some fun. I get tired of building big grids all the time. I actually did a video recently on super blocks, something that Barcelona is doing in an actual real city, and that was interesting. It shows a good way to fix traffic if you really want a grid set up, and a lot of people like that, and that's fine. but the grids do get a little old after a while, so it's nice to have a chance to do something a little bit fun and just kind of goof around. So just making sure that I don't have any weird settings as I build these roads. Sometimes I get halfway through building something and then realize that some anarchy setting is throwing everything off. So let me just come on down through here, and we will double check to make sure that trunk is in the middle. You know, after you look at something for a while, sometimes it's hard to actually tell if it's straight or not. Gonna use our old friend Anarchy here and make sure that this actually lines up. Okay, so there's our center. It's actually over there. So all we're gonna do is just come down here. And I'm gonna have to kind of go by eyeball. I'm gonna go from there down, and then same thing here. I'm gonna get the edge of that zoning circle lined up. And yeah, it's a little wobbly, but that's alright. Gives our tree some character. You know, we bought a Christmas tree this year, and got it from a local place that has just started doing Christmas trees on the side. And much like this tree, it's a little wonky. So now for the more fun part, I'm going to start putting in a handful of center roads and kind of playing around. So what I'm thinking is we'll do some roads through here that are going to be kind of like Christmas lights. So I'm going to do those with trees, and hopefully that will do is when we change this over to night mode, we'll get a little bit of different color lighting. And so you'll have the tree itself, and then you'll have the Christmas lights, so to speak, running across it. So just a little bit of fun there. And then what we're going to do as well is I'm going to start zoning this, but I'm going to try to zone it with some of these little laneways, just so we can fill everything in, but not have them, you know, not have so many roads that just looks like a mess of a grid inside of here. I may come back in and change some of this and just fill it in with parks. We'll see how it looks. And somehow my prop anarchy problem has sprung up, so what we're going to do is delete these. Hopefully not all my roads are having that issue. It's going to be a lot of trees in the middle of roads. If you guys have ever had that issue before, let me know what you've done to fix it. I have a problem where if I have road anarchy on, sometimes it'll actually run straight through trees and different things that are on the ground. So lately what I've been doing is just cycling prop anarchy, and that seems to help, and just kind of keeping an eye on it. But for instance, let's just do a quick check and see. Yep, so I still have that problem. Turned anarchy off, but here we go. So still getting rocks in the middle. I'll go through and clean all that up before we finish all our zoning. What I'm hoping is, okay, so those do have streetlights. I'll probably switch these out for something that doesn't have streetlights, just again, so when we have a nice night view of this, we won't have anything too weird. Alright, so now of course we need to get some zoning in, and we need some Christmas ornaments. So Cities doesn't really have a Christmas ornament asset that's easy to do, so what we're going to do is I'm going to use these pretty colorful trees here, the pink and purple and all that, to kind of simulate some ornaments. So I'm just, I know there's a mod in the workshop that will allow me to paint all these trees on, but I've been too lazy to download it. So for right now, we would do the more vanilla approach and plop some trees in. I'm going to leave these green trees in the middle, even if an ornament overlaps it, because, you know, sometimes you get those multicolor ornaments that look a little more fun. Give some variety to it so they're not just all pink and purple. And the cold weather's getting to me a bit, so sorry if I'm somewhat sniffly and congested. I'll try to go back and make sure I edit out all my sniffles and coughs. So one of my favorite things to do now that I'm older and living on my own is, you know, starting to decorate for Christmas. You have to go out and you buy a assortment of ornaments and all that. I've never been a big fan of the traditional, you know, generic ornaments, the big globes that are just all one color. So what we've been doing is anywhere we go somewhere interesting, we just keep our eye out for fun ornaments, you know, something that serves as a nice little reminder of our vacation and also looks a little bit fun on the tree. So you might have something that's shaped like some monument in the city or some landmark, or, you know, even something silly like we just picked up an ornament shaped like a sheep. So gotta have some fun with Christmas. Having grown up with cats, you always have to make sure whatever ornaments you put at the bottom of the tree, you know, don't be so sad if they fall off. Don't put your nice expensive glass ornaments down there. That's a good spot for, you know, rocks. Something that cat's gonna knock off and it won't be so bad. So I'm just having a little fun making up some ornaments as we go. So what you'll see here is I'm going to actually zone this whole area out, and I'm going to apply the Green Cities specialization. The reason for that is you get some green topped buildings, and so that way you'll kind of have the idea of a tree if you look at it, but you won't have to fill it in with entirely trees. When I built the Corgi Town, what I found is it looks nice when you have the road outline, and then as buildings start filling in, it kind of loses its shape, and so you have to use a bunch of trees to give that shape back. So I'm gonna try this out and see with green, the green specialization, if that helps any. And I'll just clean up our zoning here. No real reason to do this other than it just looks nice. And I downloaded the extra camera features, which are super awesome, but the problem I have is if you right click to remove a district, it also pans the camera, which it gets a little difficult when I forget about it and go to change the district and all of a sudden jump across the screen. So let's fill in this trunk while we're down here, and we want it to be, you know, trunk colored, so we're going to use some rocks. And this is where, okay, that looks pretty ridiculous, so let's jump back from that. Let's just throw in there we go. Just a bit of rock. And just so it fills in all these little gaps, let's jump over to the bush. Prop anarchy on. Let's go for a little bit of ground cover here. There we go. So now we have a nice little trunk with some rocks and trees on it. Looks pretty good. So let's go to this district. Let's call it Christmas Tree. Because why not? Alright, now city planning. Oh, that is the wrong area. Let's come under policies, green cities. Also going to use the green commercial as well. See what that looks like. Now, what I'm going to do is the zoning. I'm going to zone around all of these Christmas ornaments. So I'm going to go ahead and time lapse this because otherwise it'll be pretty boring to watch me go through and zone every individual square. Alright, so now that that zoning's done, of course we need to actually come back in and fill in our services. So, start sprinkling in a handful of these. Again, these will kind of act like some ornaments as well. We'll see how this all works. There we go, so clinics now. Fire protection is going to be very important with all these trees. Probably one of the saddest things I've seen in City Skylines is the Corgi Town, which actually, sneak peek over here, is right here in this town. It caught on fire, and the fire spread through, and so I look over at one point while I was building something else, and there's a half-burned Corgi in my city, so we'll try to prevent that this time. In fact, I'm gonna put a fire watchtower. I'm gonna put that right up there, and that should, yep, that'll cover everything there. So we have our fire stations. Now let's come in police stations as well. I could go with the larger police stations, but one thing I found is don't get great coverage, especially when you do crazy roads like this. Traffic, if it ever gets bad, those folks are just stuck. So we'll come on down with the rest of our utilities here. Now I am going to cheat a little bit when it comes to power, and let's see if we have a smaller high school. There we go. That's right, sir. That is actually the university. So I really don't want to run power lines all through all that. So there's this, the actually underwater cables. And so what I'm going to do with that is we turn anarchy on, and then we can drop this under roads. So I'm just going to come right in here, drop these in a few spots. The only thing to watch out for is you can't zone on top of these, so I just try to keep that in mind when I'm dropping all these down. And so that gives us a good run of power up through the middle. Now let's do some piping. Of course, this is not the most efficient way to water a tree-shaped town, but I'll just follow the roads for right now, and we'll come and fill in the rest. Okay, and we will need some recycling, so we'll drop those in. Now, I think that covers us. I'm not going to put a university out here. What I will do, just for the sake of this working well with the rest of the town, is I'm going to put a bus line. It's going to go up the outside and around, and then this is going to link up to a subway station, just so that everybody from here can quickly get out to the rest of the city. If I was doing this all by itself, then I really wouldn't have to do that, but because there's 130,000 people over there, I'm gonna need to do this. So let's do that real quick. So, a very simple line, nothing fancy. So, I'm kind of liking that. So, let's see if there's anything else we need to throw in. I think we need some parks, which, of course, in the middle of a tree, you have to have some parks. So, we'll throw in a couple of these. Gotta have a dog park in honor of the Corgi Town nearby, of course. And I wish this would show me my normal view, because I'm afraid I'm going to end up putting one of these right over top of those Christmas tree ornaments that I made. But I'll keep an eye out for those. Okay, so there's a handful of parks that should cover us. You know, I'm curious. I might actually, rather than have this just be a mess of rocks, nah, not quite. We'll come back to that. Alright, so I think most of my city vitals should be good now. Oh, the most important thing in City Skylines. How could I have forgotten? Death care. The last thing we want is a Christmas tree full of dead bodies. I think 3 crematoriums ought to do it. Now, because the rest of my city is a little heavy and residential, if I start running this, it's not going to fill in quite the way I want. So let me take a second, fix that, and we will rejoin the city in just a second. I had to pause for a second because, of course, it's only a matter of time until something catches on fire. And there goes a park, half a Christmas ornament, and I am glad I jumped out of the time lapse, because I seem to have forgotten all about actually connecting the pipes to something. There we go. You know, this city has plenty of budget, so just to help out with all these problems, I'm gonna drop what is occupying this space already. Not sure, but now that's occupying the space. There we go. So we have a special rapid response helicopter depot right here, just to help with cases of, well, this. So anyways, let's jump back into our time lapse and hope that nothing else catches on fire. So I was watching my city wondering, why is it growing so slowly? Let me throw in a few more parks and a few more things to make this place a bit more livable. Come to find out, I completely forgot to change the direction on one of these going into the city, so people could leave, but no one could actually get in. So let's flip that around. Let's see if that helps the city, and try this again. So we'll take a short break from the time lapse because we have a bit of commercial demand creeping up. So what I think would be fun to do is let's add some Christmas presents underneath the tree. What better way to add some commercial than Christmas presents, right? So let's see if that helps our demand a little bit, and we'll go from there. Alright, so we're getting pretty good here, coming along. Now, one thing I'm noticing is our Christmas ornaments need a little bit of help. They're a little small and a little hard to see from far away. So let's see. Make sure I grab the right ones here. Just go ahead and expand those out a bit. So while I'm doing this, you guys let me know what you think about cities like this. When I did the Corgi district, people really seemed to like it, so I figured I'd keep going with a few more fun ones. But if there's anything you guys want to see in particular, let me know in the comments. One suggestion that I thought was pretty funny is somebody wanted me to do the kind of butcher's map of an animal. So if you take the side view of a cow, it shows you where all the cuts of meat are from. I may try that one out soon. I need to look up a picture of that and remember exactly what section everything comes from. It's been a while since I've looked very closely at one. Okay, so I think that's looking a little bit better. Now you can actually pick out where some of these ornaments are from distance. And that's a bit more realistic size-wise, I think, too. So, of course, no tree is really complete unless you have something to go on top. And what better thing to go on top than... First, let me build some roads so I can place it. This is not cooperating with me for some reason. I think it might have to do with this park. I'm not sure. We are going to temporarily override that and find out why. So what else could we use for a tree topper but, of course, the Statue of Liberty. It fills kind of both of the classic tree toppers. You have the star and also the you know, the person, whether it be an angel or something like that. So I thought that makes a pretty good Christmas tree topper. And then what I want to do is just replace that with a bit smaller of a road. We're going to anarchy that right across and cover the front. So there we go. And of course, oops, my rock problem is back again. Let me fix that real quick. There we go. So now when we look at it from a distance, I wish it was a little bit more symmetrical, but overall not too bad. Maybe actually let's try flipping that around. The wonder that is Move It Mod. Let's see if this will cooperate enough to decide it's by a road. It still doesn't think it has road access, so that's easy enough to fix. We will add a bit of road there, and a bit of road there, and that works. So now, a bit better of a tree topper. I like that. So I think it's still missing something. We have the tree here, and we're starting to fill in, but I'm seeing the kind of problem we had with the Corgi Town, where until everything's really full, it's not quite looking right. So what I'm gonna do is come back in, fill this in with some good trees, and sorry, my dog is losing his mind in the background. So I'm going to take a minute and just fill in some of the space with some trees and just make it look a little bit more consistent. So cue the time lapse again. So I think that looks a bit better. It's nice and green, filled in, handful more trees. So let's go ahead and hit play on this and let some more buildings keep coming in. Have our presents down underneath it here. Now, one thing I am interested to see is what is this going to look like when we switch to night? So let's go into options, gameplay, and we will use the day-night cycle. Remember, kids, this is why you should always water your tree and never let it dry out. Oh man, the number of fires that happen in this game are pretty ridiculous. And the extent to which they happen. Even with my helicopters over here, they don't seem to be able to keep up. You can see the sheer number of you know, fire trucks and helicopters and everything else that are out here trying to put these fires out. It's definitely going faster than they can keep up with. To the point where we even have fire trucks from the rest of the city coming over. Now, let's just follow one of these guys along and see the ridiculousness of them trying to get into the city. Yeah, even at full speed, this this isn't going to happen anytime soon. I think part of the problem is our traffic lights have turned themselves back on, maybe. No, this is a case for traffic president here. There we go. Alright, no reason you guys should be stopping. Now, we do seem to have a bit of a problem with workers. So one thing I am going to do to help out with this, we are losing a lot of money right now. Okay, let's pause. I'm going to add just a couple little walkways here, just to get them a way to get up to the city. So hopefully these places will not stay abandoned. And then the last one here. Okay. Now, this should also work because the bus routes come along, so they should be able to hop off at a bus stop and cross the street. Alright. Oh, our poor Christmas tree. Well, you know, nothing like a nice fire to enjoy Christmas by, so let's just take a nice cinematic tour of our fire being put out. It makes it a little hard to see if these laneways are actually dark or not. It looks like our main roads we put through are a little bit brighter. You can still see the laneways. I'm going to try to find some roads that don't have street lights. I may have to go in and just make a custom road and replace those. We'll see. Let that run for a little while, and once this fire goes out, it'll give us a better idea of what we're working with. The number of fire trucks down here is pretty hilarious, though. They're just trucking right along. Let's follow this guy through. So, at least they're making a little bit of headway. Doesn't seem to be spreading quite as fast now that the fire trucks can actually get into the city. Slowly but surely. I don't know what this guy on the moped's doing here. I think this is one of those green cities, yeah, personal electric transportation rides. So what this basically is a guy in an electric wheelchair cruising down the road, holding up the fire trucks. So yeah, that's definitely a bit of a problem. Well, so much for all those trees we just put down. But what can you do? Good thing is, they'll all grow back. The fire we had over here earlier, those trees are back and looking fine. Just in time to get it engulfed in fire again. Well, on a positive note, apart from the whole city being on fire, went through, demolished all of the abandoned commercial buildings down here, and these little footpaths do seem to be helping. People can actually get into work, and I'm not sure about them getting deliveries of goods. No one's really complaining about that right now, but at least they do have some workers. I'm going to let this run for a little bit. We'll see if those fires die out. And I may add a couple more fire watchtowers just to see if that helps out. And we'll see how that works. Alright, so the fire is slowly dying out. To go ahead and add a couple more helicopter depots. You can see them kind of coming in here at the top to put out the last of the fires. Basically, all the trees are burned down. But what I did find out while everything was on fire is you can actually come in and replace those laneways with the unmarked basic road, 2-lane plain street, and those do not have lights. So that gives you a nice little setup with dark side streets. Now what you can see is when I did that, it destroyed all the buildings next to it. Doesn't particularly matter because, as you can also see, most of these buildings are also destroyed by the fire. So we have quite a few buildings to rebuild while the fires are still going. So I'm gonna clean up these demolished cities and let it run for a little bit longer. The joys of trying to make cities. Someone in one of the streams that I watch mentioned there is a mod to actually get rid of wildfires. I may have to look into that. If you guys know a good one, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to get that one in. But we're not too bad off. There's still some trees that made it, so we'll hopefully grow back pretty quick. For right now, this is, I guess, kind of a sad Christmas tree, little Charlie Brown-esque here. But anyways, we will jump ahead and revisit this hopefully nice and lush and green and full of trees again. So just a quick jump out of the time lapse. Our trees are slowly growing back in. Still got a little ways to go. But, you know, I think the nighttime setup's looking pretty good. We've got our lights coming across the tree, and then we have, of course, the main lights going across this way. So it's coming along. You know, I always thought putting the lights on was kind of the best part of the decorating experience. The ornaments I never liked doing growing up because you had to put so many on to get the same look that you got from just putting lights on. You can throw a couple wraps of lights around the tree and it really makes it feel like Christmas in the house, but when you really, it takes quite a while to get all those ornaments on there. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way this is looking. I think the nice thing is, you know, at night you have the lights, and then during the daytime you can actually see the ornaments. If I were to go back, I might get some assets from the workshop for some ploppable colored street lights. I might take a look and see if there's any on there and add those back in. But yeah, overall pretty good. Let's jump this out of nighttime. There we go. So now it's kind of the you know, January 10th Christmas tree. It's still got a little bit of green hanging around, but for the most part pretty brown. About time to bag that tree up and take it out to the dumpster. So, well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the silly build that was this Christmas tree along with the little presents underneath. I will let this run and finish out so we can end on a nice pretty green tree rather than our half-burnt brown tree. If there's anything you guys would like to see added on here, maybe additional Christmas themed items, or if you guys want to see a district in any particular shape, let me know in the comments down below and I will start making my way through the list. Thanks for watching!